Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Study for Knowledge. Today we are discussing about the theory of consumer behavior. Theory of consumer behavior studies the behavior of an individual or a group of consumers regarding how to allocate their given limited income resources in such a way that it maximizes their level of satisfaction. The theory of consumer behavior deals with how to achieve a consumer's equilibrium. A consumer equilibrium can be defined as a situation in which a consumer has allocated his income on consumption of different goods, services in such a way that it maximizes his level of satisfaction. In other words, a consumer is said to be at consumer's equilibrium when no other allocation of his income which frees him more satisfaction than what a consumer is enjoying by current allocation. So consumer will not like to change his allocation of income and will not change from his situation. There are various approaches propounded by different economists, or rather to say group of economists. Theory of behavior. First of all, Marshallian approach or a cardinal approach, Hixian approach or a ordinal approach, related preference approach, axiomatic approach. Marshallian approach or a cardinal approach. Cardinal approach was propounded by a group of economists led by Professor Alfred Marshall. This approach to determine consumers' equilibrium has propounded that consumer satisfaction from consumption of any good can be measured, which is called utility. So utility is the want satisfying power of commodity, and utils can be measured in terms of cardinal numbers. Example 1, 2, 3, 4, so on n. And the standard units for utility is utils. They said that utility can be measured in terms of amount of money or monetary units. Marshall also defined marginal utility and the total utility. Marginal utility is the utility derived from consumption of one additional unit of a commodity, and the total utility is the sum total of marginal utilities derived from consumption of all the units of a commodity. Further, the assumption of a cardinal approach are a rational utility satisfaction derived from consumption of a goods can be measured in terms of utils. Marginal utility of a money utility can be measured in monetary units because Marshall consider money as the measuring rod of utility. Axiom of diminishing marginal utility. The axiom of law of diminishing marginal utility states that as a consumer consumes successive units of a commodity, the marginal utility derived from each successive unit keeps on declining. The law assumes that units of commodity are homogeneous. There is no time gap between consumption of two or more different units. Utilities derived from different units of different quantities can be compared and added together. U is equals to F Q1, Q2, Q3 and Qn, where U is equals to total utility, Q1 is equals to quantity of a good one, Q2 is equals to quantity of good 2, Qn is equals to quantity of good n. The theory states that conditions for consumer's equilibrium in single commodity case as well as two or more commodity case. In single commodity case, the condition of consumer equilibrium MUX divided by MUX divided by PX is equals to MUY, where MUX is equals to a marginal utility from X, P is equals to a price of a grade. So the relation of a marginal utility of good to its price should be equal to marginal utility of money. In two or a more commodity case, the ratio of marginal utility of the individual commodities to their prices should be equal to the last rupees spent on all commodities. MUX divided by PX is equals to MUY divided by PY is equals to MUN divided by PN. The utility condition is also known as a low equimarginal utility. So the utility derived from spending an additional unit of money must be equal for all the commodities. If MUX divided by PX greater than MUY divided by PY, then this case consumer will be consume more of commodity X, and as his will consume more of X, the MUX will start declining and thus will reach the equilibrium condition. Demand curve from law of diminishing marginal utility. Under marginal utility analysis approach or a cardinal approach can derive demand curve from law of DMU. For this, suppose that the consumer consume good X. As a consumer successive units of good X, the MUX keeps on declining. Now if we take that 1 rupee of consumer equals to the 1 util, example rupees 1 is equals to 1 rupees 1 is equals to 1 util. Then in this case, if you get 10 utils of marginal utility from first unit of X, then he will be ready to pay rupees 10 in exchange. When this MUX declines with more consumption good X, then his willingness to pay also declines. Therefore, he will demand more at further lower prices, and this is what demand curve shows, that there is an inverse relationship between demand for a commodity and its price. So we can see from above the diagram that in panel 1, when consumer increased his consumption from second unit to third unit of X, then his MUX declines. First unit, second unit to third unit of X, then his MUX declined from U2 to U3. As a result, he is willing to pay less price for third unit than what he paid for a second unit. So in panel 2, we can see that consumer will demand third unit at price P3 only less than P2. So joining points C and D in panel 2, we derive demand curve for a good which is the same as a marginal utility curve of good X. Some limitations of Marshallian approach. First one, utility can be measured on a practical grounds. How much satisfaction a consumer derives from a consumption of a commodity is a subjective matter which differs to people. So it is a very difficult to measure utility in cardinal numbers or objective numbers. Second one, money has been assumed to measure utility, but the value of money itself fluctuates. Therefore, how can we measure utility which a measuring rod of money which itself is not constant? Third one, further the law of a DMU has been established from introspection and is a physiological law. Fourth one is a Marshallian demand theorem cannot be genuinely be derived except in single commodity case. Fifth one is a cardinal approach failed to show split of price effect into a substitution effect and a income effect. Sixth one is a Marshall could not explain Giffen paradox. He just treated Giffen paradox as an expectation to law of demand, where his ordinal approach explained this.